Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis. And today we are going to be doing on the second chapter of my book, 10 Weeks on the Road to Prosperity. And this stop, is about co-creation. So also I'd like to introduce my assistant. This is Faith. Faith has been in my church, since she was born. She used to help me with announcements, and then she and Hannah, her sister, used to hand out the affirmation cards at the end. So she's been assisting me her whole life, and now she's 17 and my official assistant. So when you talk to me, Faith will talk back. She knows me better than I know myself, so the answers are usually right on. And so I always do look later at them to make sure there isn't something I need to elaborate on. But please know that it's Faith answering you and not me. I'm just not good at multitasking when I'm talking. I can multitask with anything else, but when I'm talking, I get interrupted and then I lose my train of thought. So thank you, Faith. And the other member of my team that's here is the wise and powerful Oz. And he is our practitioner on duty today. He prays us in, prays us out. He's available for our 1-minute miracle at the end. So he's been with me since like 1997, 1998, something like that. Was my board president for quite a while. So thank you for being here, Oz. We really appreciate you. All right. And so if you're here, please say hi, hello, good morning, whatever greeting you would like to do. When I used to look out, when we had a facility, I could look out and see who was here. And, I just kind of knew what was going on with everybody. And now I don't know who's here. Facebook and StreamYard don't allow me to see that. So please say hi, hello, good morning, whatever greeting you want, but it lets me know who's here. Also, if you'd like to do a watch party, there's a watch party button. It's a great way for you to introduce your friends to what we teach and be able to talk amongst yourselves without bothering anybody, because in church you would have to be really quiet. This way you don't have to be quiet. So I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Presence of God, right here, right now, in us, as us. It breathes us, it pumps our blood, it spins our planet, it grows the trees, it grows the food that we eat, it processes the food within us. It is the life force above all and within all. It is who and what we are. Without it, nothing can exist, but since something exists, it is. It is within you right now, whatever you are, wherever you are. It is who and what you are as well. I know that it is all things, and all things are blessed by this ever-present, all-powerful force that runs through it all. For that presence and for that force, I give great thanks, and I let it run through this service, and I let it uplift and inspire all. God hearing, God speaking, God caring, God sharing. God is all there is, and God is with us at this moment, wherever we are. And for that presence, I give great thanks, and I let it be, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. So just a quick note for those of you who may not come all the time. Please know that my word is God, but use whatever word is comfortable for you. So if you would rather use universe or Great Spirit or Allah, whatever word is appropriate for you, just translate it in your head. I had people come to church one time and tell me, we would come back if you didn't use the word God. And I'm like, this is a church, man. I have to say the word God. And it's my word anyway. That's the word that I use. But please understand that our version of God is a different version. And I'll get into that in just a minute. But please translate that in your own head. And so this next song is We Are All One from Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver. We do this one every single week because we are connected by it, through it, as it. We are all one. Sing aloud and sing it proud if you know the words, because you can't disturb anybody.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
So if you're here, say hello, hi, good morning. However you want to address the day. If we were in a facility like we used to be, I could look out into the audience and see who was there, and it was always it made me feel good. I got some feedback, and we don't get that here. So say hi, hello, good morning, however you choose. If you like something you hear, use the thumbs up. If you love something you hear, give us a heart, because we love getting love. And if something really powerful strikes you in either what's sung or what I say, or even in the prayer, then by all means use the wow button, because the wow button tells us that we just really struck a chord. That's what we want. And we do a lot of songs, a lot of music, like a lot of churches do, because we want to open your heart, to open your mind for God's message to sink in. So that being said, I have a little ditty that I found on TikTok. It's kind of gone viral. Some of you may have already heard it, but it gets in your head, and I want you to sing it all the time, because it is really good. And people have been manifesting like crazy from the song, and it's called The Money Mantra by King Soon 4774, by the way, if you want to look him up on TikTok. All right. So here is Faith singing the money mantra.
Okay. So, yep, it's more of a chant, and they suggest doing it 3 or 4 times in a row. So I'm just gonna go for it. All right. Ching, ching, ching goes the money tree, and every time it ching, money comes to me. It all flows in so abundantly, from the top, left, right, and in front of me. Wave, 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 I'm a money wave. Money flow, money saved. Flowing in and out, plus money sent. Debt, 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 all debt is paid. Ching, ching, ching goes the money tree, and every time it chings, money comes to me. It all flows in so abundantly, from the top, left, right, and above me. Wave, 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 I'm a money wave. Money flow, money made. Flowing in and out, plus money saved. Debt, 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 all debt is paid. Ching, ching, ching goes the money tree, and every time it ching, money comes to me. It all flows in so abundantly, from the top, left, right, and in front of me. Wave, 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 I'm a money wave. Money flow, money made. Flowing in and out, plus money saved. Debt, 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 all debt is paid. Ching, ching, ching goes the money tree, and every time it ching, money comes to me. It all flows in so abundantly, from the top, left, right, and above me. Wave, 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 I'm a money wave. Money flow, money made. Flowing in and out, plus money saved. Debt, 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 all debt is paid.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really, it's catchy and it sticks in your head. You know, anything that we can use as a meme to make us, you know, more prosperous, I'm all for. So if you'd like, let me know and I will send you what the lyrics are to the chant, or Faith will. Faith probably has them written down at this point. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she'll send them to you. Thank you, Faith. That's awesome. All right. So last week, I did the setup for our journey here. This series, 10 Weeks on the Road to Prosperity, is based on my book that I wrote back in 2001, 10 Weeks on the Road to Prosperity. And it's we use the metaphor of a road trip. And each stop along the way, instead of being a rest stop, is a point of interest. And so we talked last week a little bit about God as a setup to that, because people have different versions of God. And in our philosophy, we don't believe in a personality God. We don't believe in a he or a she person, like a wise judge in the sky with a white flowing robes and a beard who judges us. We don't believe in that kind of God. What we believe in is a God that is a divine intelligence that knows how to do everything in the universe. And we're backed up by quantum physics, because quantum physics says everything in the universe is made of the exact same stuff. That the only difference between you and I and this desk or the computer or the air between us, the only difference is the way the molecules bump up against each other. How fast that is determines how solid the substance is. And this is, you know, proven fact that everything in the universe is this, okay? And they say there's an intelligence that knows how to create everything, how to do everything. We call that God. We say God is the divine intelligence. And we say that it runs through us like we're watermarks on a page. That God flows through that watermark, we just give outline and form to it. And so we individualize that oneness of God. And so we are connected by it, through it, as it, and that's where we are all one. Okay, so that's our version of God. And again, please feel free to use whatever word sings to you. That could be Great Spirit, that could be universe, that could be Allah, that could be any word you want to use that signifies to you that divine intelligence in the universe, okay? And then the next piece that I wanted to just go over briefly with you is, in order to be on this journey, any journey, you need to know what your starting place is and what your destination is, okay? So we talked a little bit last week about this inventory that I had you do. Because we have to know where our starting point is. You wouldn't put into a GPS the destination and not put in a starting place. You would have to know where you're starting from. And our journey to prosperity is exactly the same way. So the inventory was a way for us to know where we're starting from. And we're determining what the destination is through the next 10 weeks. But we kind of have an idea that what we want is to thrive. That was our definition, our working definition of prosperity last week, is we would like to thrive, not just survive, not just get by, but to actually thrive. So our starting point was this inventory, and you listed all of your income from whatever avenue it came in on the one side. On the other side, you started out with your expenses with 3 things. The first was 10% to God. I know. Don't panic. We're not going to get there like immediately. We're going to step up to that. But 10% to God, because God is your spiritual source. And because God is your spiritual source, the idea is you give 10% back to your spiritual source. Okay. Then 10% to yourself, because you are worthy and you are worth it. And we keep putting that off. We keep saying, when I have this, I'll go buy myself that. When I'm rich, when I have plenty of money, and that day never comes because we never feel like we have enough to do that. So we're going to start out giving 10% to God, 10% to ourselves, and then a third 10%. Now remember, this is just on the worksheet. You can be brutally honest about everything because nobody else is going to see this worksheet on this inventory sheet. The third 10% is going to go towards debt repayment or investments. And, you're just going to put aside a little bit every week. Last week was 1%. We started with 1%. This week is going to be 2% of what you made this past week. So we're on this trajectory to step up to tithing, because I know 10% sounds like a lot, but as you go, as you see yourself stepping up to this tithing at 1%, 2%, you are going to notice that nothing changes. You have more than enough to share and to spare, more than enough to pay your bills, more than enough to live comfortably. Because you've set up in the universe this law of circulation that says, I can have everything as long as I'm willing to enter into the flow of the universe. I did a little exercise with you. I said, okay, take a deep breath. So let's do that right now. Take a deep breath in and hold it. Take another deep breath in and hold it, and take another deep breath in. Release. You get the idea. You can't take in any more breath. You have to release some of that in order for there to be room for more breath. Well, money works the exact same way. When you're tithing, you are making room for more good to come into your life because you're letting loose of that which you don't absolutely need to have right now. You think you do. We fooled ourselves into thinking that, but you don't really need to have that. So we've done the 10% to God, 10% to ourselves, which you have to spend on yourselves. No spouse vacations, no spouse anything, no kid, nothing. No, it has to be on you. You can do it for a spa day. You can save up for a motorcycle or a boat. You can save up for your own trip to an exotic land, whatever that is, but it has to be for you and no one else, okay? And then 10% for your repayment of your debt or investment. Just putting a little bit aside until you get to the point where you can do that. All right, so then you listed out all of your expenses, and there was a discrepancy between the income and the expenses, which was expected. That gap is where the power is. The place where we are now to where we want to be is the gap, and that's where the power is. Because we're so used to looking at that checkbook and saying, that's my reality. No, that's not your reality. That's where you are right now, but your destination is something else. And in that destination is, looking towards that destination is where all of your power is. You've moved from victim, meaning, oh, look what I created, I'll never get out of debt, to, hey, I created this, I can uncreate it. You see the difference in my posture? Okay, so that's just a brief recap of last week. And then the first stop was gratitude, because gratitude is a magnetic force. And I'm not talking about just saying the words, I'm talking about feeling it. So here is our teaching symbol. Before I go any further, I want to do this real quick. This is our teaching symbol about what we believe the creative process of life is. And so here we have the unbroken circle of unity, no beginning, no end. We split it into 3 parts, not because it is easily splittable, trust me, it's not, but because it's the only way we have of talking about it in some cohesive manner that makes sense. So the top portion is the conscious mind. Whether we're talking about God or we're talking about the individual, this is conscious mind. This is when God thought us into being right here. And then this middle portion is the subjective mind. It is the stuff of the universe, Play-Doh, if you will, that God uses to create things. And in the individual, this is your subjective mind, where it's like a hard drive on a computer, kind of a read-write situation, where all of the memories of everything that's ever happened to you and all of your reactions are stored. This is also the place of doubt. So when you speak something into form from the conscious mind, sometimes it gets stuck here in the middle because we have some bounce back that says you don't deserve or you can't have or whatever. And then the bottom portion is form, whether we're talking about God or we're talking about the individual. The last section of this is form, and that's where the manifestation is. And then you notice that there's a V that comes all the way down from conscious mind into form and passes back to the nothingness from which it came. That is the process of creation. And the best example of that is when you look at a garden, for example, and in the fall, it just disappears. It goes back into the nothingness from which it came. But that is the process of creation. So now that I've done that, I want to explain a little bit about the subjective mind. So we set an intention. I don't believe in goal setting, and I'll tell you why. There's a difference between goal setting and setting an intention. Goal setting says, this is the goal I want to reach. Here's the little mini tasks that I'm going to do to get there. And it's all outward. It's all in an outward process. It's not an inward driven process that shapes the outside. But we set an intention, and God, the universe, the subjective mind, is going to meet us at that level to provide exactly what we've set an intention for. Now, you might wonder how we're going to get there, don't we all? It's not our business. We don't micromanage God. It's not our business to tell God how this is going to happen. All we need to do is say what we want and let God fill in the blanks. And once we do that, we let it go. We let God fill in the how. I like the cookie cutter example. And that is, you have this dough. Remember, the stuff of the universe. You have this dough, and you take this cookie cutter and you stamp out the form of what you want it to look like, right? And then you put it on a baking sheet and you stick it in the oven and you bake it and you leave it until it's done. And then when it's done, you bring it out and it's in that shape, right? So we don't go to the oven 2 seconds after we put it in and start messing around with the oven. No, it shouldn't go that way. It needs to go this way. No, I don't think this is happening right. We don't do that. So we need to stop doing that with God. We need to stop telling God, micromanaging God, and telling God how things need to happen, how all of this needs to happen. And so what we're going to do is instead, we're going to set an intention. And we're going to say, this is my cookie cutter, so to speak. This is the intention. This is what I want to see, what I want to feel, what I want to hear, what I want to smell. This is what I want to experience. And then we're going to let God fill in the blanks to get there. Now, this works even if you're using this not just for prosperity, but for relationships. It works for health. It works for anything you want to apply it to. Because again, you're going to give the starting point where you're at right now and your destination where you want to be. And you're going to live in the idea of what you want to feel, what you want to experience, right? So that's the difference between goal setting with markers for mini goals that lead up to the ultimate goal. We set the intention and let it go. All right, so we've already covered that we think everything in the universe, we know that everything in the universe is made of the same stuff, right? We established that in chapter 1 through quantum physics. So I'm made of that stuff. You're made of that stuff, my desk, my computer, all of it. Our co-creative ability comes from that premise. if the basis for our co-creative ability comes from the God stuff that absolutely everything in the universe is made of, then even money is made of that same stuff. Like when you think about, like Bill Gates or Oprah Winfrey through that lens, then you know that there's no difference between those people and you, except they have a mental equivalent for, or the ability to imagine something greater than we have right now. And we stop looking at our checkbook as our mental equivalent, and we start saying, if I'm made of the same stuff as Bill Gates, Bernie Sanders, Oprah Winfrey, then I have the potential of making huge amounts of money just like they did. Right away, your subjective mind, this is it, your subjective mind is going to reject that. It's going to say, that's what happens in this lovely little hard drive of ours where we're storing all this information all these years. It's been set to a mental equivalence of I don't have enough, because it's going to protect us. It's so used to believing in poverty and so used to believing in hatred and so used to believing in disease that the moment we declare something that we want, our monkey mind starts saying, you can't have that. What do you mean you are prosperous? That's just impossible. You're nothing like Oprah. Ever had that experience? Okay. And again, when we're talking about loneliness is a perfect example of that. When you realize that everything is God, absolutely everything is God, and you realize that we are all one, there is no way you could ever be alone. So you really aren't alone. God is always inside and through you. Everywhere you go, no matter what you're doing, God is always, always there. And so when you know that, it's very calming to me. It's very reassuring to me, because I know that I never have to experience loneliness or unhappiness or poverty or illness, dis-ease. Yes, I am Hashimotoing, however that goes. But I don't claim that disease for myself, because I do know that God lives within me and God doesn't have Hashimoto's, right? Okay. All right. So these are limiting beliefs that we need to look at and ask, does this serve a purpose in my life anymore? And if it doesn't, we need to work on getting rid of it. If it serves a purpose in your life, then don't do anything with it. But if it doesn't serve a purpose in your life, it's time to get rid of it. Let's affirm the opposite. Let's allow ourselves to achieve that mental equivalent of more. Best self-esteem affirmation I have ever found, and I give out to almost all of my students, is I am enough, I have enough, I do enough. Because part of what is located in our hard drive is that we aren't enough, that we don't have enough, and that we don't do enough. In other words, we're not worthy. And because that we are so programmed to believe that we're not enough, because of that, we have a belief system that says money is not going to stay in my life. And I can't attract a lot of money because I don't deserve it. Well, let me tell you, you do deserve it. Does God deserve abundance, prosperity? Does God deserve happiness and love? Does God deserve health and vitality? You betcha. I can't even imagine a world where God didn't deserve that, right? And if we're made of God, if that's the stuff that we're made of, then that means we deserve it too. Just from our birth, we were born with the gift of co-creation, and we wouldn't have been given that gift if we weren't worthy of having that, if we weren't already deserving of having that. And so here's the thing. The subjective mind in all of its programming does not know the difference between fact and fiction. And if you don't believe that, just go to the movies sometime. Go to a really sad movie and watch what happens. You sit there and cry, right? You know it's fiction. Intellectually and consciously, you know it's fiction. You know there's no basis for it, right? And yet you cry. Because your subjective mind doesn't know the difference between fact and fiction. All it knows is what it sees and what it experiences. And so just like that experience of going to the movies, that is our imagination at work. Walt Disney was a perfect example of that. He took this reviled rodent and he drew him to be this sweet, cute little icon this cute little mouse that everybody fell in love with. And he became the most popular, the most famous in all of history. And Walt Disney did that through our imagination. He let us imagine this rodent as a cute little personality. All he had to do was change our perception of him using his imagination. And when we think about how our imagination works and how the subjective mind works, it wants us to believe what it sees, whether that's fact or fiction. Then we know that we can increase our mental equivalent by creating an image that we can imagine. Now, I'm not talking about only visual. Please understand that however you take in information is the right way to take in information. You can imagine something by feeling it. You can imagine something by hearing it. You could imagine something by seeing it or feeling it or hearing it or smelling it. All of those are valid ways to take in that information. So when I talk about imagination, it's in here, what you can imagine. And, Madison Avenue has really actually been the most powerful with this, because they show this car and they say to the men, it's subliminal. They don't come out and actually say it, but they say, buy this car and girls will fall down in front of you. They will want to ride in your car. Women, buy this lipstick and you'll have men surrounding you. Let me tell you, men don't like lipstick. Just saying. I mean, it's not logical because men really don't like lipstick. So anyway, but you have then men, drink this beer and, that will open up, this relationship with this girl. For women, buy this perfume and men will be infatuated with you because you're wearing this perfume. All of this is through our imagination. It's filling in the blanks. Our imagination is saying, if I do this, then I will be that. And they've been utilizing it. It's about time we utilize it, right? They took advantage of it because it's our tool. It's something that we can use. So let's take advantage of it like they did. Put it to work in our experience, okay? So here's what we're doing this week. Last week we did all this gratitude work, and this week we're going to do a spiritual bank account. Now, let me give you the basics for this. We, a long time ago, like 30 years ago, something like that, watched an infomercial on this mental bank account. And I thought, that's a good way to up my prosperity, So I bought the program and we did it, and it worked. It actually worked. And what it was is you would take any task that you really don't like doing, and you would give yourself money for doing it, and you would record it in this register, in this mental bank account register. So of course, we would go out to do dog poop, and we assigned each turd $100, right? And we would come in from picking up the poop, and we'd count up the turds that we picked up, and we would give ourselves $100 per turd and record it in this check register. And it actually worked. It worked because our minds began to see so much money in that account. And so I got into the school of ministry, and I'm thinking, how am I going to teach prosperity? And I came up with the idea of adapting that mental bank account into a spiritual bank account. And so that's what we're going to do with this. You are going to give yourself money for every spiritual practice you do. I had kind of set it aside and dug it back up. And when I did, I was like, oh, this is a great idea. First of all, you're going to get a checkbook register. Okay. I have one in my book for those of you who have my book. If you don't, at the end of this, if you participate on every level for the next, it's actually 12 weeks because we have, Easter and Mother's Day in the middle. I'm sorry. I got a shot yesterday. I got my vaccination yesterday, and I'm a little foggy, I guess. It's interesting watching my process here, but anyway, so bear with me as I struggle through some of this. Anyway, so you're going to get yourself a check register. And in this check register, you are going to give yourself money for everything that you do that is part of your spiritual practice. For instance, when we started doing this program, because it was a Benno bank account and we would go out, whatever, we started doing it on Poop. Well, people don't seem to find time for a spiritual practice. So we are going to do it that way. And I trust me, you're going to start seeing amazing stuff happen. Because our imagination is so important, you're going to give yourself $100 every time you come to church. So that means, get online, and you have to stay for the whole service, though. You can't just like pop in and out and consider that done. But you're going to give yourself $100 for just being here. Not a bad deal, right? Every time you go do one of your spiritual practices, you give yourself $100. In the gratitude practice you did last week, every time you swung your feet over the side of the bed and said, "Praise God, this is the day that God has made and it is good," or if you listened to the song that we recommended last week, I'm thankful for this day, Spirit. Every time you did that, it's $100. So if you did that for 7 days this week, you get $700. Every time you took a gratitude break during the day, if you took 5 or 6 breaks during the day, again, they were just a few minutes. Say you did 5 of them, you give yourself $500. Remember that the subjective mind does not know the difference between fact or fiction. So you're putting all of this into this check register as if it has already happened. You see? And your subjective mind is reading this and going, "Oh, wow, look at all the money we're making." And it's a great way to bypass some of the beliefs that are going to get in the way of you just doing affirmations or something like that. Okay, so then at night, when you were doing your gratitude list, you were listing 5 things. You're going to give yourself $500 for every night you did that. And if you did your inventory, you get $100 for that. Okay. Now, today you're going to get 100. Oh, yes. And if you tithed last week, 1%, you will get 1%. You will get $100 for that. This week, if you do 2% based on your income last week, then you will get $200 in your spiritual bank account. And you begin to notice what's happening here is the balance is going to go up and up and up and up. And you begin to see what happens when you do that. Every time you add to your spiritual bank account, all of a sudden you begin to see that you have millions building up in this account, and your subjective mind begins to process that information, and it uses your imagination because it believes it's actual fact. You'll begin to see it just show up like unexpected income will just show up. It's amazing. Yeah, I know. You're looking at me like, yeah, whatever. But it's an amazing process. And it's based on the idea that our mental equivalent has increased because we have used our imagination, which the subjective mind does not know is fiction. It only knows that if it sees on the checkbook register a bunch of money, that we're in the money. You see, we're in the money now. Yeah. You're used to using a checkbook register for your accounting. Well, some of you, I don't know. People don't use those anymore, do they? Does everybody use a checkbook still? I do. I don't write that many checks, but I do those. Oh yeah, by the way, and every time you said thank you on a check, you get $100 for that. That's part of the process last week, or your Venmo or whatever it was. Every time you say thank you, you're going to get $100 for it. All of a sudden, your subjective mind begins to see all of this money building up in your account. And, trust me, there's going to be some back talk from your subjective mind. There always is. And you just have to say, thank you very much. I've got this. Thank you for sharing. You don't need to protect me anymore. And you work on those beliefs and say like you're not worthy. Of course you're worthy. You're made of God. Why wouldn't you be worthy? One of the things you need to work on if you have issues around money is the idea that money doesn't grow on trees. Don't you find that an interesting idea? Okay. Let's argue through it, shall we? What is money made of? Paper, right? Where do we get paper from? Trees, right? So money does grow on trees, right? So you're going to argue through all of those the same way. We have this built-in program that we've learned since we're little children about money and what it means. And we have to get past this or get our way through it just to get that done. All right. Like, I don't deserve money. Let's argue through that one for a minute. Why wouldn't you deserve money? You're made of God stuff, right? Does God deserve money? If God deserves money, then you're made of God stuff, then you deserve money too, right? So we're going to argue our way through all of this. And what's really true is that I deserve money because God is what I'm made of, and God deserves money. And so if God is what I'm made of, and God deserves money, then I too must deserve money. The gift we were given when we were conceived is the gift of co-creation, the ability to co-create our reality. We wouldn't have gotten that if there isn't a better reality out there for us to have. And we're all programmed with this ability to co-create the life that we would like to have. We set our intention knowing that's our destination. We know where we are. We've done the inventory. And now we're doing our spiritual practice. Because we're doing our spiritual practice, including the spiritual bank account, our subjective mind is saying, yes, I can see that we have money. You see, we've got money, and money is good, and I'm good, and I deserve it, and that's the process. This is about. I think you'll love it. I know you will. I do. It has served us well all the years that we've been doing this. It has served us well. Again, like I said, I wrote this in 2001, and we've had several iterations of it. I think it was like 2008 or 2009. I sent it to first I gave it out to the congregation so everybody could edit it. And then I sent it to an editor, and she returned it back with her changes. And then someone in my congregation spiral bound it, and we sold it in the bookstore. I never really got it to another publisher one of these days. I think I will. So I'm rewriting it because I've lost all of that. Nobody seems to have a copy of it. And the laptop that I was using when I was in Florida one time, I went to open a bottle of water, and somehow or other it slipped out of my hands and spilled all over my keyboard, and it melted the hard drive. So I can't even get to the digitized version of this book. But what I figure is, since 2001, my mental equivalent has changed. My prevailing awareness has shifted so much that it's probably better that I rewrite this, because looking at, Tina brought me chapter 1 and chapter 2 of my book from before, and I covered all of that last week. And so that's like the introduction in chapter 1. It's not even like chapter 2. So I'm going to be rewriting all of that because I have so much more information that I want to give you than what I had in 2001. Because like I said, 22 years as an ordained minister, I've gained a lot of experience in this. So anyway, so this week, hopefully you did your inventory. Has everybody done their inventory? If not, do it this week, please. It will help you, I promise. And again, you're just setting it up in mind that you're going to do the 10% to God, the 10% to you, and the 10% to your debt repayment and investment. And don't worry about the balance being off, because that's what we're working on now. We're working on balancing all of that out so that you have more income than you have expenses. So don't worry. Just don't get caught up in that. And this week, you're going to continue to do your gratitude. Last week you did, swinging your feet over the side of the bed saying, this is the day that God has made and it is good. And then, or listening to that song, thank you for this day, Spirit. Something like that. You took gratitude breaks during the day, something to be grateful for. There's always something to be grateful for. And then at night, you're doing 5 things that you were grateful for so that your mind and your heart were infused with gratitude as you went to sleep, so that your sleep was infused with that. So this week, we're going to do the spiritual bank account. And you're going to give yourself plenty of money for everything that you did last week, including coming to church and tithing 1% and all of that. If you did the 1%, just be totally honest with yourself. Okay. And then this week, you're going to give yourself $100 for being at church, $200 for tithing. If you do the 2%, you're going to get $100 every time you put something in your register. Where are you going to get a job like that, right? Just recording it, you get $100. And you're going to work on those ideas, those limiting beliefs that are in your subjective mind, because you're going to notice that you're consciously creating instead of unconsciously creating. Remember, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, says, there is a power for good in the universe, and you can use it. I say, and you can use it consciously. That's the difference. Let's have a prayer. So right now, I just move my awareness to that infinite power, that infinite presence, that infinite life of God. To that place that lives within me that knows beyond human understanding just how powerful that presence of God is. For God is simply all there ever has been, all there ever will be, and all there is right here, right now. Only God. And so that's where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that one infinite power and presence of God, that wisdom of the ages that infuses my life, my mind, my heart. It is the wisdom of God as it passes through me. I know the same truth to be so for God's team, which I have the honor and privilege to manage, for Faith and for Oz and for Lynn, because I do know that they are beings of God's love, of God's life, of God's power, connected by it, through it, as it. And we are connected as we perform the actions that God requires of us so that this message goes out into the world. God leads us to the perfect action. And we celebrate our oneness. We celebrate that we are the agents of God. We celebrate that we are one team in God. I know the same truth to be so for all who are viewing this, whether that be in real time or later on. Because there is no place where one leaves off and the other begins. There is simply the unbroken unity of all life that is present in every being, every life, every person, everything. We are all one. Mitaku Eyasin. And so I bless this coming week with an awareness of how powerful our imagination is, how powerful God works through our imagination, through the beingness that we are. By our simple spiritual practice tools that we are using, we are affirming that power of co-creation that lives within us, our birthright, as creatures of God's stuff, made in the image and likeness of God, to co-create with God for our perfect life. So I know that this same truth is so for every name that is in the ministry of prayer this week, because I do know that God flows through whatever experience we're having. And the power and presence of God being more powerful than that condition is underneath it all. So I pull back the veil right now. I pull it into existence in this reality, shining forth I invoke it. I name it and claim it in their names as good and very good, and I give thanks for it. My heart fills with gratitude to know this is so and to be of service in this way. And so I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Oops. Remind me later. Install the newest Windows feature update. Oh no, not now. Not in the middle of this, no. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to give thanks for that which you have already received in this physical realm, and that which you have created in the mind of God and yet have not yet experienced in form. Someone messaged me this week and asked how to tithe. So please know you can tithe to this that's on the screen, oasiscsl.org. She has put it up there. She's put it in the comments. That page, that very first page, has on it our offering affirmation that I'm going to have you say with me here in a minute, and a contribute now button, and that is where you go to tithe. So if you're participating in the program, don't go backwards. If you're already giving more than 1% or 2%, don't go backwards. Start where you are. Give what you normally give. But if you have not been tithing, please give 1% for last week and 2% for this week if you haven't already given 1% for last week. We did not have anybody participate last week. So I don't know if that means you didn't have any income last week or you just didn't get around to doing it. So you're going to want to do that. 1% for the week before, 2% for this past week. Because you're starting your spiritual practice and you get to give yourself $100 for doing the 1% and $200 for doing the 2%. So you might as well do it and get that on your register. Okay. If you're willing to participate in this program, reach out to us. Faith will send you a file that has a register that we like to use from my book. But you have to commit to the process. You have to commit to the program. All right. Let's see. What else do I need to say about this? I think that's it. So what you're going to do is go to oasiscsl.org. In the middle of the page is an offering affirmation. Whether you're watching this in real time or later, you can do this offering affirmation with us. This blesses the money that you're giving so that it returns back to you. All right, ready? This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive. And so it is. Click on that Contribute Now button, please, and contribute your 2% or more. If you're already giving more, please don't go backwards. Just do that. Good. All right. And instead of doing a second song, because I seem to be long-winded these days, we don't really have time for a second song every week. I don't know what is going on with me. I'm going to do the announcements real quick, and then we'll do the I am so blessed, and then pray out, and we'll meet y'all back here. All right, so please know that Oz is available for what we call our 1-minute miracle. It's not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can let him know whatever challenge you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. You will reach him by video chat. Bob Oswald, she has put in the comments. So just reach out to him by video chat. If he doesn't answer right away, please know that he is probably helping someone else and will be available later. So also, we have a team of licensed practitioners that are available by appointment for a fee for spiritual guidance. So please know that you can set up a time with them, do Venmo or Cash App or whatever it is to pay for it, and then they will reach out to you through the video chat for your appointment. And if you would like to have your name in the ministry or prayer today, please put whatever you would like prayer for in the comments section. If you don't feel comfortable doing that publicly, you can always message one of us. I don't know why it keeps saying my connection is unstable. And last week I was like cutting in and out. I went and listened to it later. So I apologize for any sound quality issues we're having. But if you would like prayer for something, type whatever you want prayer for in the comment section. If you don't feel comfortable doing that publicly, you can reach out to one of us and let us know. We have a private group Facebook page that we put those prayer requests on, and only our God Squad has the information on that. And so it's a great way for them to do prayer for you every single day of the week. Okay. And if you would like to participate, you do not have to be a licensed practitioner, but you do have to be willing to keep it in confidence, number one. Number two, you need to commit to doing affirmative prayer. And number three, you need to follow up on that commitment. So if you are interested in serving on our God Squad, let us know by putting yes in the comment section. And if you would like to be part of our public-facing Facebook group page, which is our online community, type more in the comment section and Faith will add you to that. You get information before the public gets it on anything that we're doing, like this program, for example, went up there first. All right. Bracelets from Bailey and Brooks. I don't know if I should share that or not. Anyway, Bailey and Brooks is, I'm going to let you share that if you want to, Shauna. Bailey and Brooks is, the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue. You can contact her at brooksandbailey0307@gmail.com. And I don't know if you can see my bracelet, but this is such a cool bracelet, and I love the clasp on it. It's a different way of doing the clasp. Some of those just fall apart on me, so it's really pretty. Remember that Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's music is available on her website. You can go on there and check it out, and then you have to get a hold of her by email to see where to send the money, because her website doesn't really work that well. And then Karen Drucker's music is available on her website. You can get the songs themselves, or you can get a whole entire CD, or you can get the songbooks. Some of them have American Sign Language in them. She's done a really good job of preparing all of that, and she has gifted us with her entire collection of like 20 CDs. So we like to support those who support us. So reach out, buy something from Karen Drucker. We would love to have that happen. And again, her songs are so good to meme you, so that you are like thinking about abundance and prosperity. She has a lot of those. Abundance, prosperity, gratitude, a lot of those. And then check out our website at www.oasiscsl.org. And you can see past sermons well, you won't see it. You'll hear past sermons in audio and current sermons in video form. We have a lot of those up there. We haven't been real current on keeping up on them. I'm sorry. We're working to get that up there. But anyway, we are also available for the video sermons on YouTube, and the audio sermons are on SoundCloud. So you can find us there, and soon to be on TikTok as well. So we're doing everything we can with social media to make sure that you can get a hold of us one way or the other. All right, let's go to our closing song. I Am So Blessed. This is a Karen Drucker song.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And I know the blessings of God are right here, right now, whenever and wherever we are. That God is there present within us and around us, upholding and supporting all that we think, all that we do. And I know that this blessing moves through this week, and I know that it creates perfection wherever it goes. For that presence and for that power, I give great thanks, and I let it be, and so it is.
And so it is. Okay, thank you for being with us here today. Stay safe, wear a mask, get your vaccine when it comes time for you, and join us next week and every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. See you then. We love you. Bye.